Welcome, traveler. You've arrived at the edge of known space, where the rules unravel and the stars whisper secrets no one was meant to hear. Today's story begins not with war, but with a scream that should never have been heard. The Kari Diplomatic Code, Section 47, subsection C, dictated the first rule of deep space exploration: always declare peaceful intentions before landing on an inhabited world. The second, bring appropriate gift baskets. But nobody, it seemed, had written a rule for when the planet itself screamed. That wasn't right. Commander Urich's pallid skin shimmered with anxious bioluminescence, the veins beneath her flesh throbbing electric blue. She fiddled with her neural port, a Kari interface disturbingly resembling a chrome flower blooming from her neck. Acoustic waves don't travel through a vacuum. Torvik, the Arvok mercenary captain, snarled, his slate-gray face, carved with harsh angles and ancient scars, contorting into something akin to worry. Whatever is down there just punched sound through 300 kilometers of nothing. The Harmonious Intent, a coalition vessel, held silent vigil around Con 6, a moon sculpted from the galaxy's darkest dreams. Even from orbit, the crimson fungal blooms spread like a disease, the writhing megap forests perpetually in motion, and the storm systems crackling with bioluminescent fury. "Play it again, Lieutenant," requested May Donovan, the ship's sole human, a contractor hired by the Galactic Coalition, hoping a Terran perspective could help them comprehend this alien horror. The sound filled the bridge once more. It began as a low tremor, a deep ache in your very bones, then swelled into something. A sound erupted, a blend of a howl and a battle cry, yet there was structure, patterns, almost like words. Urich's eyes widened, sensing emotional spectra. A distress signal? May felt more, a deep resonance that bypassed her senses, vibrating the deck. "Distress?" Torvik scoffed. "Hunting call. Heard it before the swarm mothers ate my unit." May replayed the sound, running it through every filter. Something was buried within the roar, triggering a memory. "We're going down," Urich stated, her tone of certainty. "Protocol demands investigation." Torvik's laughter was harsh. "Your funeral. My guys get hazard pay." May was still listening, this otherworldly sound that had defied the void. Hidden within the roar, she thought she heard a word. Just one word. Reload. Years earlier, Captain Ryan Royce stood, addressing his team. 8 Black Ops specialists on a mission to a moon that barely existed. "Karen 6, he announced, gesturing at the screen. "Oxygen levels that'll have you buzzing. We offer you doom or liberation, and our esteemed scientists estimate 17,000 species view humanity as repulsive, preferring us with condiments." Corporal Deke Mars, a nervous tick that had previously kept him alive, double-checked his weapon. "Why are we back in this desolate wasteland, Gap? Detroit's a paradise compared to this." Ryan's response, his grin slicing the air, explained, "Command wants to know if this forsaken pit can be weaponized, and we're the unfortunate souls chosen for this experiment." The transport shuddered violently. Crimson emergency lights cast an ominous glow. "This isn't supposed to," the pilot stammered, before chaos erupted. In the present day, the Coalition's arrival party discovered the shattered remnants of the craft 3 kilometers from their landing zone. Urich's scanner worked relentlessly. Preliminary analysis suggests a vessel, roughly 2 decades old. The metal composition is peculiar, as if something consumed it and then regurgitated it, one of Torvik's mercenaries commented, spitting. May gently touched a fragment of warped metal, her fingers following crudely etched, hand-carved letters. "War Howl lives," she whispered, the human script barely audible. That's when the sound reached them, not through their auditory sensors, but directly through the air, heavy with hyper-oxygenated atmosphere that made each inhalation a struggle against suffocation. It began as a rustle in the blood-red foliage overhead, escalating to the snapping of branches that defied nature, and finally, the earth-shattering rumble of immense mass hurtling towards them. May also observed the surrounding fungal growths, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing in rhythm with the approaching thunder, as if the very forest announced their presence. A low, almost sentient hum vibrated through the ground beneath her feet. "Defensive positions!" Torvik bellowed. It was too late. They descended like predatory comets, 5 forms of flesh and fury, moving with unnatural speed. They moved with impossible speed, far too nimble for their imposing frames, their fluid grace defying all expectations. Clad in what appeared to be a crude yet functional armor, fashioned from shattered starship plating and the ossified remains of immense local fauna, they were an unsettling sight. One of the colossal beings landed directly amidst the ranks, forcing May's mind to scramble, to comprehend the unbelievable spectacle unfolding before her. It stood a towering 7 feet tall, a dense mass of corded muscle, its scarred hide interwoven with tactical gear that had been haphazardly mended with sinew and teeth. A mask, perhaps once a helmet, now a grotesque fusion of welded metal and pulsating breathing tubes, concealed its face. Then it unleashed a roar, a visceral force, a sonic battering ram that sent 2 of the Canari crashing to their knees. And then it spoke, its voice a chilling resonance of gravel and steel, smoke and thunder. A male voice. May realized with a jolt it was undeniably human. Torvik, remarkably, was the first to regain his footing. He raised his pulse rifle, but the masked behemoth moved with a fluidity that seemed to disregard the very laws of physics. With one hand, it effortlessly seized the rifle's barrel, crumpling it as if it were mere paper. Its other hand drove an elbow into Torvik's chest plate with such savage impact that the armor cracked like fragile glass. "Ryan," another voice echoed, this one belonging to a figure equally formidable, though leaner, yet no less terrifying. This second assailant was meticulously reloading a weapon constructed from salvaged ship cannons and the formidable jawbone of some ancient, multi-toothed predator. These creatures wear uniforms, May. That means they have allies. The masked figure, Ryan, tilted his head, a gesture eerily reminiscent of a predator, a bird of prey. Through the visor of his mask, May glimpsed eyes that should have been a common brown, but instead pulsed with faint, bioluminescent sparks, like trapped fireflies glowing within amber. "We should end this swiftly, Deke." What transpired next was not a battle. It was a brutal demonstration of overwhelming power. Fights imply an element of equality, a chance for both sides to contend. By the time the chaotic scene subsided, half the coalition force lay defeated, not slain, but irrevocably taught the profound chasm between theoretical combat training and the sheer, unadulterated terror they had just endured. "Report," Wicks choked out, her voice trembling, her usual calm demeanor shattered along with her left optical implant. "Multiple hostiles. Repeat, multiple hostiles." A twisted, chilling laugh, masked and menacing, erupted from Ryan. "Lady, this is our home. You're the intruder." May, pressed against a fungal tree reeking of decay and dread, found her voice. "You are human." Every weapon whirred, aimed at her. Ryan moved closer, his eyes brown and unsettling, piercing through the mask's visor. Eyes that had peered into the abyss and found it appetizing. "Tell me, traveler, or will you surrender? The flesh, the DNA, or the name they carve on your tombstone when they abandon you?" Dee's voice, sharp and urgent, cut through the air. "CapEx Villain 30 local packs moving in. They smell blood, like hounds on a scent." A primal howl echoed through the jungle, a chorus of hunger building into a symphony of terror. "Fine," Ryan declared, his gaze sweeping over the shattered coalition forces, settling on May. "This is how it's done. Run. Run like your life depends on it. Perhaps you'll reach your vessel. Don't run." He stopped and did not need to finish. The beast pack vanished into the jungle like a wisp of smoke, leaving behind a confused mass of aliens, one shaken human, and a single dog tag. A dog tag fallen in the chaos. May's hands trembled as she picked it up. The metal, worn and scarred, bore a name. Mars D, Corporal Terran Combat Command, Project Warhowl. "Oh God," she whispered, the words colliding in her mind. "Oh no." Yurik, skin shifting between terrified blue and bewildered purple, stumbled closer. "What is it?" May looked at the diplomat, her ribs cracking beneath a layer of pain, towards the relentless nightmare that surrounded them, a jungle where human soldiers had clung to life for 20 years. "We must run. Now. Because if Project Warhowl is real, and this tag confirms it, then..." No one on Earth had answers to seek. May sensed those individuals were prepared to do anything to prevent those inquiries from arising. The urgent summit aboard the tranquil vessel crackled with the somber mood of a wake, where the deceased persistently sat up to retort. "They are barbarians," Commander Urix declared, her neural port flashing with streams of offended information. "Whatever they were before, 2 decades on that celestial body has eroded their very essence." May forcefully placed the dog tag onto the conference surface. "Their humanity, Commander. I witnessed the recording. They possessed the capacity to eliminate everyone. Yet they refrained. They fractured 6 of my ribs." Torvik rumbled. "You have 40 ribs. You will recover." May activated her data slate. "I've been investigating. Project Warhell is absent from any official archives, but residual data hints at a clandestine operation that vanished precisely 20 years ago. Deep space combat acclimatization, extreme terrestrial endurance, all the components, so Earth forsakes its warriors." Urex's secondary oculars narrowed. "That breaches 17 accords." 18, her subordinate corrected. 18 accords. This represents a diplomatic disaster about to unfold. The illumination abruptly ceased, and emergency lighting flickered on a moment later, casting a peculiar crimson hue over the surroundings. This signaled a catastrophic turn of events. "Report," Urix commanded, her voice reaching frequencies only acutely distressed Kriari could attain. "Something is within the ventilation system," a security officer relayed. "It's moving with haste." The serenity evaporated instantly. May felt her lifeblood transform into frigid water. "They pursued us here," she whispered. "But how?" Torvik inquired. "The passage is sealed." The vent directly above him burst outward. A figure descended, smaller than Ryan or Deke, encased in what appeared to be the skin of a creature with an unsettling number of eyes. It landed upon Torvik's shoulders, impaled his shoulder plating with a sharp object, and vanished back into the vents before anyone could react. Dorvik gazed at the trembling barb embedded in his shoulder. "It seems I've sustained a minor puncture." Further detonations, more vents. The war-howling pack surged through the vessel like a deluge. Shifting and fracturing sounds propelled the crew, a jarring echo driving them relentlessly toward the cargo bay. May's realization dawned. They were being herded. Urix, her skin flickering with panicked hues, attempted to marshal security via her neural link. This was precisely where the retrieved artifacts were secured, and May's eyes widened in dawning horror. "Oh no." She bolted, the others instinctively following. When the sole human aboard their vessel flees, questions can wait. They burst into the cargo bay, finding Deke hunched over a vintage military field recorder, his salvaged armor catching the dim emergency lights. He looked up, his face finally visible to May. Scars crisscrossed his features, etched with unspoken histories. His eyes, sharp and predatory, belonged to a professional hunter. Yet something else emerged. Faint, bioluminescent veins pulsed beneath his skin, disturbingly similar to Urix's but undeniably organic. A terrifying evolution. "Huh?" he rasped. "Still works." May found her voice, strained. "How did you even get aboard? The entire ship is sealed." "Your hull has maintenance conduits," Deke replied, his tone unnervingly casual. "Plenty of room for a determined human who spent 2 decades mastering the art of contortion. We attached ourselves during your atmospheric departure. Void swimmers can endure brief vacuum journeys, and so can we. We sliced through your external sensors as if they were mere parchment. Your security protocols require a more expansive, 3-dimensional perspective." He pressed play on the recorder. A video log from 2 decades prior flickered to life. Though grainy and worn, the image was sharp enough. A younger Ryan, his face unmarred, met the camera, his gaze still holding the sharp edge of military discipline. "Day 15, he began. "Dropship is... Comms are... Paris succumbed to the fungal infection. It seems the indigenous flora is decidedly incompatible with human lymphatic systems. We have perhaps a week of rations remaining." He paused, his gaze drifting away from the lens, muffled, urgent voices reaching the microphone. "D believes we can sustain ourselves on some of the local fauna if prepared correctly. Parker insists the, Amidst a jarring explosion and terrified screams, the camera tumbled, revealing a horrifying vista of a creature with an unnerving abundance of legs rending their encampment. Ryan, splattered with alien green ichor, gasped for breath as the feed stabilized. 15 added, he choked out, then amended. Scratch that. A week's rations, and Parker's gone. But hey, we discovered the local fauna bleeds. That's something. The transmission flickered, jumping to another entry. Day 90. A gaunt figure, a Deke, materialized on screen, his hair dusted with what appeared to be lethal fungal spores. It's no longer confined to our minds, he rasped. Storm's reaction was palpable. I was consumed by rage yesterday, she admitted. Pure fury. And lightning struck the very tree a predator stalked me from. Ryan insists I'm delusional, but this forest, it feels aware. It's learning us, absorbing our presence as we try to decipher its secrets. The Deke paused the playback. Want to witness day 50? That's when we finally understood the howling. Day 100 too. That's when Ryan convinced himself consuming raw megapona hearts would bolster our defenses. He was right. And by the way, he added, a chilling realization dawning. You are monsters. Uix whispered the sentiment. No, a voice echoed from above. Ryan descended from the ceiling, landing with a predator's fluid grace. His helmet was off, revealing a face that, while human in structure, seemed forged from something far more resilient. Half his jaw was a grim testament to salvaged metal, and surgical scars crisscrossed his skin, narrating a desperate tale of battlefield medical efforts, executed with more conviction than resources. Monsters are born, he declared, his voice rough. We were forged. He gestured to the screen. Play day 200, you utter git. The video log for day 200 depicted a markedly different Ryan. Gaunt, hardened, his armor bearing the crude marks of improvised repairs. Personal log, Captain Ryan Royce, Darren Combat Command, he began, a bitter laugh escaping him. If anyone ever discovers this, who am I trying to fool? Nobody is looking. Command abandoned us the instant we went dark. We're likely nothing more than a footnote in a budget report, listed as lost equipment. He brandished a piece of salvaged communication gear. I managed to get this functional for about 30 seconds yesterday. just enough time to catch civilian broadcasts. Earth is still reeling, still defiant, still utterly unconcerned with 8 soldiers. The machinery sputtered and failed. 7, he corrected softly. Martinez succumbed to the night. The planet's cries consumed him. Not the beasts, but the very essence of this world. This realm invades your mind, forcing a choice. Adapt or perish, transform, or become sustenance. He met the camera's gaze. We are choosing what's necessary. No matter the distance, we will not perish here. And when we depart this world, when? Not if. Accountability will be demanded. A beat of silence. His tone hushed. Perilous. They discarded us like strays. They no longer wished to provide. But behold, the stray endured. And we recall who held the reins. Present. Yet you did not depart, Yor stated, her diplomatic composure resurfacing. You remain, do we? Ryan grinned, a flash of bared teeth. Madam, this moon is ours. We embraced the howling, mastered the colossal predator, transformed this very abyss into our domain. Why depart? Because you are human, May whispered, and humanity never forsakes its own. The cargo bay fell still, save for the low thrum of backup power. An amusing revelation, Deke remarked, inspecting his weapon. It seems your government's abandonment extended beyond us. We discovered 3 additional wrecks over time. Colony vessels, research outposts, all disavowed, all left to perish. We rescued whom we could, Ryan added. We taught them to roar, to stalk. We built a fledgling society for the Forsaken. Now, diplomat, inform me, whose kin are truly ours? May's datapad alerted her. A new dispatch, critical. Its encryption shrieked of covert government operations. She read it, then reread it. Her reality warped. You monsters, she exhaled. What is it? UX inquired. May presented the screen. Official Terran Defense Command letterhead. Directives to seal off Con 6. Erase all observers. Project Warhowl never happened. The sterilization fleet's arrival is imminent, May declared, her voice hollow. 48 grueling hours had passed. Deke and Ryan exchanged a pointed look. That's unexpected, Deke stated. No, Ryan countered, a chilling eagerness lacing his tone. It's precisely what we need. Commander Urex's voice, sharp enough to splinter glass, demanded, "Explain yourself." Ryan unfurled a battle-scarred hide, scrawled with blood and strategic markings, across the conference table. They're sending Earth's elite cleanup crew, our own superiors. The very ones who abandoned us to perish are now coming to obliterate any remaining trace. And they won't hesitate to incinerate your vessel either, just to erase all evidence. Urex scoffed. The Galactic Coalition never engages in hostilities without explicit authorization. Your coalition is about to vanish, Deke interjected, his weapon disassembled and reassembled in his hands without a glance. Earth's Black Fleet eliminates all witnesses. You are all now liabilities. Torvik, nursing a wounded shoulder and a wounded ego, leaned in. Let's assume we accept your improbable story. If this fleet truly exists, what can 7 desperate individuals possibly accomplish against an armada? Ryan's grin was a terrifying spectacle. 7? Oh, you truly are a fool. You believe we are the sole survivors? He let out a guttural howl that inexplicably echoed through the ship's bulkheads, transcending the vacuum to reach the desolate moon below. Many things shouldn't have happened, but they did. And Con 6 roared in response. The view screen blazed with countless contacts, not vessels, but vital signs erupting from the lunar surface. Dozens of them, astride monstrous entities that resembled a nightmarish fusion of a manta ray and pure terror, soaring through the void. Every soul on that desolate rock, Dee explained calmly, learned the same brutal truth we did: evolve or face oblivion. It seems when you sustain your populace with the processed organs of psychic megapona for 20 years, remarkable adaptations emerge. Like projecting sound through the vacuum? May inquired. Like engaging in combat with void dwellers, Ryan confirmed, tapping the illuminated screen. Exquisite beings. They subsist on cosmic radiation and possess a unique edge. This is utterly preposterous, Ural, Ryan declared, his voice sharp. You can choose to passively await Earth's annihilation, or you can join us in demonstrating the folly of their abandonment. The decision rests solely with you. Torvik rose, his ingrained warrior ethos eclipsing his reservations. What is required? Weapons, Deke stated promptly. Those capable of inflicting significant destruction upon formidable targets. Furthermore, medical provisions, a Warhell operative chimed in, descending from a ventilation shaft, clearly prioritizing unconventional entry over standard doorways for individuals accustomed to years of unbridled existence, with some of the accompanying crew nursing injuries. Finally, robust broadcast apparatus, Ryan concluded, necessary for penetrating formidable military encryptions. For what purpose? May inquired. Because, Ryan replied, his gaze darkening with a chilling resolve. When we strike, I want Earth to witness every single moment of it. 36 hours later. Space warfare, by conventional military doctrine, is a meticulous interplay of calculations, trajectories, velocity management, energy allocation, and heat dissipation, a precise and predictable science. Yet the Wareg operated outside such parameters. Contact imminent, T-10. The sensor operator confirmed the Earth fleet's punctual arrival. 6 stealth destroyers, engineered for the singular purpose of erasing threats. Oral Pack is optimally positioned, Torvik reported, still grappling with the surreal reality of coordinating with untamed beings astride colossal cosmic creatures. I maintain this is an act of utter desperation. Everything is desperate if executed improperly. Ryan's voice crackled through the comms. He was venturing into the void, clad only in a modified EVA suit, fueled by 2 decades of simmering resentment, piloting a void creature the size of a small vessel. Proceed to your designated location. Affirmative. A clear firing solution presents itself on the command vessel. Just give the signal. May watched the tactical display, her throat parched. How are you managing to breathe out there? An interesting characteristic of hyper-oxygenated blood, Ryan elaborated. It retains its potency for approximately an hour in a vacuum. Earth presents its own harshness, but the pain simply signifies the body's shedding of weakness. Correct, Parker? Parker is no longer among us, Dee gently reminded him. Indeed, then the pain represents Parker's departure from the body. The Earth fleet materialized. Our hyperspace vessels, perfectly aligned, executed a textbook maneuver. A message arrived, disrupting our formation. Comms reported the order. Prepare for immediate boarding. Ryan scoffed. The void he had contorted. These void swimmers bypassed conventional space, folding dimensions like origami crafted from physics defiance. The Warhol Legion assailed our fleet from impossible vectors. Humans, clad in makeshift armor, magnetically clamped to breaches, wielding fusion cutters, and 20 years of pent-up rage. Impossible, the Earth Commander's voice crackled through the interference. There's nothing out here but Corporal Deke, Mars Terran Combat Command. Deke's voice boomed, resonating on every channel. Project Warhol, day 7,000 plus. Still breathing, still fighting, and still absolutely furious. His salvaged cannon roared, and a destroyer's engine core erupted into a fleeting nova. The engagement, if 20 minutes of physics-defying destruction could be called that, left 3 destroyers shattered, 2 crippled, and the command ship desperately attempting to flee as a manifestation of Ryan's deepest fears gnawed at their warp drive. "Surrender," the Earth commander broadcasted, his voice strained. "We surrender. This is Admiral Haynes. Authorization code." "I know who you are," Ryan's voice sliced through. He was on their bridge, captured on security feeds, towering over terrified officers. The Void Swimmer's emerald ichor, a testament to their feeding, stained his armor. "You signed our deployment orders. Minimal risk. You called it standard reconnaissance. You said I was following orders." "So were we," Ryan retorted, seizing the Admiral by the throat, lifting him effortlessly. The hyper-oxygenated air had enhanced human musculature. "We adapted." May's fingers danced across her console, compiling every byte of footage, every transmission, every shred of data, broadcasting it wideband. The galaxy was about to witness an unforgettable spectacle. "Stop," Admiral Haynes choked out. "You're still Terran citizens. We can negotiate." "Let's talk." Deke's image flickered onto the screen, disturbingly nonchalant, despite the crimson stains marring his salvaged armor. "He wants to negotiate." Ryan released the Admiral, who crumpled to the deck, fighting for air. "All right, let's hear it. You want our terms?" His gaze locked onto the camera, a silent acknowledgement that May was transmitting this to the furthest reaches of the galaxy. "Every single human you sacrificed, every forgotten colony, every acceptable loss you coldly calculated, you will find them. You will rescue them, and you will answer for what you did to them. That's just a start. The sheer scope of what you owe isn't my problem to calculate." Ryan turned, then hesitated, a chilling afterthought surfacing. "Oh, and Admiral?" A predatory grin stretched across his face, all sharp angles and unspoken threats. "Next time you decide to abandon humans on a world like that, make damn sure they don't survive." In the cargo bay of the Harmonious Intent, Lieutenant May Donovan watched the Warhol pack prepare for departure. Void swimmers drifted outside, patient and menacing, waiting to ferry their human companions back to Con 6. Deke approached, double-checking his weapon. "You could come with us," he offered. "There's always space in the pack for someone with real strength." "The offer is tempting," May conceded, gesturing to a data packet. "But I need to ensure Earth makes good on its promises. Besides, I have 1,000 lawyers to brief. It's going to be an interesting few years." Ryan walked up, helmet tucked under his arm. Up close, the years spent on that unforgiving planet were etched into his features. Scars whispered tales of survival, and his eyes held the weight of too much suffering, too much loss. But his smile, that smile promised retribution, and May knew it was a promise he'd keep. "You're a true believer," Ryan observed. "Maybe there's hope for Earth after all." "What about you?" May asked. "You could go home. All of you could." Ryan glanced at his pack, the 3 humans who had endured the horrors of that world, and emerged transformed, hardened. They were inspecting weapons, exchanging dark jokes, readying themselves to ride those alien creatures back to a moon that had tried to claim their lives for 2 decades. "We are home," he said, his voice flat, resolute. "Con 6 is our home now. We bled for it. We died for it. We became something else entirely for it." "Why would we depart from this haven?" he questioned, his gaze lingering as he prepared to leave. "However, should Earth wish to visit, they are most welcome. Just insist they announce their arrival beforehand." A sharp, intense question followed. "Why?" Ryan's grim expression was as piercing as stellar radiation. "Because now," he explained, "we possess potent anti-ship armaments. And Parker, a new Parker, you understand, discovered her within a shattered colony vessel. She's been yearning for a chance to deploy them." The formidable Warhol pack vanished as they had appeared, receding through impossible rifts in reality, astride beings that defied fundamental physical laws. Their chilling war cries, carrying across the vacuum as if space were merely an inconvenience, pierced the silence. May watched their departure, then turned to Commander Urix. "So," she began, "are you ready to help me dismantle a profoundly corrupt government?" Commander Urix's Kari skin shifted through a spectrum of thoughtful hues. "Will there be extensive documentation?" "Mountains of it," May confirmed. "Precisely." Urix straightened, his neural ports alight with determined purpose. "The Galactic Coalition thrives on paperwork." In the vast distance, Con 6, the death world that had erred, continued its silent spin. It had dared to threaten humanity, and in doing so, it had forged their unyielding resilience. Somewhere within the boundless void, carried on unseen frequencies, a primal howl resonated. And across the galaxy, on worlds where humanity had been forsaken, where settlements had been left to perish, a stirring began. The howl had been heeded. The pack was summoning. And this war cry was merely the prelude. 6 months. That was the duration until the documentary shattered the extranet. The Warhol Chronicles, initially compiled as May Donovan's definitive evidence, transformed into the most captivating media phenomenon in galactic history. 50 billion views on the inaugural day alone, comment sections that overwhelmed server farms, and protest movements that made Earth's government desperately wish they had surrendered to Warhol. Throughout this upheaval, Con 6 maintained an unbroken radio silence until this very moment. "Incoming transmission from Earth Defense Command," Urix declared, her office aboard the Coalition monitoring station practically quivering with palpable tension. It's marked Final Solution." May, who had taken up residence on the station to orchestrate rescue operations. A chilling dread, a icy terror, snaked through May as she processed the news from abandoned human settlements. "Show me," she rasped, her voice a strangled whisper. The face on the screen, General Morrison, Earth's new military overseer, a man whose smile seemed to anticipate orbital obliteration, a chilling prelude to utter devastation. "Citizens of the cosmos," he began, his words a dismissive betrayal of comprehension. The terrorist group Warhol, having twisted the very fabric of creation, had bonded with alien life forms, transforming into something monstrous, for the safety of all civilized worlds. Chiron 6's complete eradication was now inevitable. "These killers are rewriting the rules," May hissed, her fury palpable. "The Armada arrives in 3 days," Morrison announced, his voice devoid of compassion. "Any craft in the system will be considered enemy targets. This isn't negotiation, this is extermination." Silence. May, her eyes fixed on the dead pixels, reached out to Con 6, calling upon the frequency Deke had provided, a call whispered through the screaming winds of an electromagnetic maelstrom. "Warhol, this is Donovan. Through the static, the truth is clear. We see you." Ryan's voice, though calm, held an undercurrent of dread. 80 warships, May stated, her heart a leaden weight in her chest. Dreadnoughts, planet-shattering weapons, total annihilation loomed. "Evacuate," she ordered. "No, May," Ryan countered, his voice infused with reason. "Your plan to fight against such overwhelming force is beyond foolish. It is suicide." "We won't fight." There was a grim certainty in Ryan's tone, one that spoke of an unfathomable yet chilling plan. Deke's voice crackled through, a disturbing echo. "Remember the fungus? It's not just psychoactive. It connects minds. 20 years of consuming it, breathing it, being entwined within it. We are Con 6, all of us, inextricably bound." May's throat constricted with grief. "Ryan, Take charge. Morrison wanted to obliterate their world. He will find, however, that to obliterate Con 6 is to obliterate a part of himself. A sentient death world, bonded with 53 souls who'd spent 2 decades forging spite into weapons, broke its connection. May gazed at the lifeless comm unit. They were truly going to confront 80 warships with their planet. Is that even conceivable? Uix inquired, her skin shifting through hues May had never witnessed. With ordinary humans? Absolutely not. May accessed all available data on Con 6, biological signatures, atmospheric conditions, the void swimmers. But with Warhol, I genuinely cannot say. However, I am certain of one thing. She faced the diplomat. I refuse to permit them to face this peril without aid. 12 hours remained until the fleet's arrival. The Galactic Coalition's emergency session had dissolved into an event historians would later characterize as a monumental catastrophe of epic proportions. Earth holds no such prerogative. The footage unequivocally demonstrates that biological armaments are strictly forbidden. The roar originated from Torvik, who apparently believed formal procedure was a luxury for those untouched by the ferocity of humans riding instruments of pure terror. The Arvok mercenary rose, his mended armor reflecting the gleam of recent combat. You wish to remain here, deliberating, while brave souls ready themselves for oblivion? Very well. The Arvok freehold shall stand with Warhol. Any who pledge their allegiance, speak now. The rest, he spat upon the council floor, relish your bureaucratic drudgery. The Krenari Diplomatic Corps cannot officially, Urich started. Unofficially? May interjected. Yours neural ports flickered. Unofficially, I have already dispatched 6 medical frigates to the system for humanitarian observation. Should they, by chance, be equipped with military-grade shielding and electronic warfare capabilities, well, that's merely standard armament in this era. One after another, representatives rose. Not all, not even a majority, but a significant number. Enough to make a difference. 6 hours remained. Con 6 resonated with a powerful song. May observed from the Coalition fleet's observation deck. 37 vessels had heeded the call, spanning from Torvik's formidable mercenary craft to a science vessel from the Yang Collective, its captain having declared intense academic interest. A fascination with our fungal partners bloomed. The moon hung low, its bioluminescent pulse a searing spectacle. Swirling weather patterns strangely mimicked tactical charts, while an eerie chorus of howls vibrated through the very fabric of space. Orhal, this is Coalition Support Fleet. We have arrived. What is your command? Ryan's voice, warped by Con 6's chaotic atmosphere, crackled back. Witnesses, when this is concluded, we desire the galaxy's remembrance. Maintain a distance of approximately 50,000 kilometers. 50,000? Why such a precaution? Park is uncertain regarding the blast radius. Blast radius of what? Static erupted, punctuated by a chilling sound like laughter. T-0. Earth's fleet emerged from FTL, a breathtaking sphere of 80 vessels, perfectly arrayed. Planet crackers hummed with charged energy, while fighter screens, vast enough to eclipse the stars, deployed. General Morrison's voice thundered, "Attention, terrorist cell Warhol. Your corruption is absolute. Surrender now, and your demise will be..." His words were cut short. Con 6 shifted, not rotating, but lurching sideways through the void, as if gravity itself was a mere suggestion. Targeting systems failed. Ships careened into one another as their formations fractured. What in the blazes? Then came the void swimmers, not mere dozens, but thousands, surging from Con 6 atmosphere like a living tide. Each bore a payload, spores as large as shuttles, biological pods throbbing with captured starlight, and what appeared to be fungal siege weaponry, as if fungi themselves harbored opinions on orbital bombardments. Astride the Vanguard, visible on every sensor and screen, was Ryan. He stood upon the creature's back, arms outstretched, unsuited, helmetless, mere human resolve defying the fatal vacuum. The extreme oxygenation that once permitted brief exposure had transformed, adapted, becoming something far more profound. He inhaled the void and the howls. The planet raged alongside him in war's inferno. Fire consumed all. Morrison cried out, "Fire everything!" 80 colossal ships unleashed their fury, beams of energy capable of cleaving continents and missiles designed to fracture moons, enough devastation to render a dozen worlds barren. Con 6 absorbed it all. The fungal masses erupted in a cascade, releasing spores that devoured energy like sweet treats. The biological pods burst open, revealing horrors mirroring Parker's theories on defying physics itself. These were beings that warped light, contorted space, and transmuted incoming missiles into grotesque, abstract sculptures. Yet through this cataclysm, Warhowl surged onward. They struck the fleet like myths made flesh, wielding firearms alongside their unnatural might. Deke's crew shattered a dreadnought's defenses with a void swimmer that had mastered screaming fissures into existence. Ryan infiltrated Morrison's flagship by having his steed literally gnaw through the hull and deposit him directly onto the bridge. "What?" Morrison stammered, witnessing his fleet ablaze. "You're just human!" Ryan seized him by the throat, forcing their gazes to meet. Ryan's eyes blazed with an otherworldly bioluminescent fire. "Human will," he proclaimed, "fused with alien evolution." He dragged Morrison to the view screen, displaying his armada being ripped asunder by this union of human cunning and extraterrestrial biology. "General, let me illuminate something about humanity. We are the species that gazed upon fire and declared, 'I can harness this.' We are the ones who saw wolves and envisioned companions. We transformed hostile worlds into verdant gardens and predators into allies." A smile, both dreadful and magnificent, touched his lips. "And it is perfectly, terrifyingly human. You cast us aside on a world of death, and we didn't merely endure." He leaned in, his voice a low whisper in Morrison's ear. "We made it our own." With a forceful heave, he tossed Morrison aside and activated the ship's communication system. "This is Captain Ryan Royce of Daring Combat Command, Project Warhowl." His voice resonated across the battlefield, across the cosmos, a message of defiance and survival to every abandoned human soul. Day 7, 342. Final report. The flagship shuddered violently as an immense form. Con 6's continental foo. The network wrapped around it. The project ended. We had to see if Karen 6 could become a weapon. He laughed, so free. Mission Tatkirad complete. The fungus crushed. The flagship shattered. Ryan surfed the blast on his void swimmer, yelling with glee. 1 year later, Earth held a memorial. They wanted it solemn, proper, a respectful nod to the war hell mess. Then Deke appeared. "Is that a void swimmer?" A horrified voice shrieked as the creature materialized above the ceremony. Security's weapons were useless against its strange biology. "Relax," Deke called, somehow in formal wear, if you overlooked a lot. "Just here for the party. I heard there'd be booze." He landed near May, fighting to hide a smile at the president's face. "Not invited. Same old story." He offered a flask, took a swig. "How's the rescue going?" 17 colonies saved, 32 more located. May took the flask, the contents tasting of battery acid and regret. The coalitions had created an entire department for it. Urich was overjoyed. She'd generated paperwork enough to build a moon. Speaking of moons, Dee gestured to the memorial, a sanitized war hall that bore no truth. "Ryan sends his best, and if they don't fix his jaw on that statue, he'll do it himself." Was it a threat? more a promise. They understood his need for accuracy. They stood in quiet observation, as Earth's finest pretended they hadn't tried to exterminate their own kind. "What about Warhol?" May inquired. "Same as always." Deke's smile was deadly. "Karen 6 belongs to us. And now we dream bigger. There's many death worlds out there, many places. The galaxy once deemed impossible, yet impossible is merely a prelude to our arrival. We venture forth, seeking haven for the Forsaken, teaching them to roar." Parker envisions a vast network, from desolate to deadly worlds, bound by void swimmers and unyielding human will. Earth has a history of abandonment, of leaving its own to perish or run wild. Now we forge a new lineage, a greater pack, and we alone dictate its fate. The Coalition's disapproval is irrelevant. Let them lodge their protests. He swung onto his void swimmer, its very existence unsettling the minds of nearby physicists. More importantly, they require us. Who else would dare traverse realms too perilous for the sane? Turning back, he called, "May, a visit next time you're near." Parker's crafted a fungal concoction that promises either extraordinary abilities or oblivion, perhaps both. That hardly sounds appealing, D. On Karen 6, it's a considerable draw. The void swimmer warped reality, disappearing with a crackle of ozone and the faint echo of wild cries. May gazed at the monument, its depiction of fallen soldiers a stark misrepresentation. The stances, the gear, the very expressions, they were idealized, not the raw, defiant spirit of those pushed beyond their limits and choosing to retaliate. Yet perhaps it served its purpose. Let Earth cling to its comforting falsehood. In the silent expanse between stars, where death worlds and moons teem, the true howl of humanity persists, resonating in the hearts of the reclaimed, in the defiant cry that pierces the void. For physics itself is but a suggestion to be defied. Somewhere, a human teaches a void swimmer a melody. Elsewhere, Parker undoubtedly bends the very laws of existence. And on Karen 6, within a stronghold of salvaged vessels and alien remains, Captain Ryan Roy stood vigil, marked by conflict, unyielding, and definitively, impossibly. The galaxy had absorbed a profound truth, etched in starlight and suffering. While humans could be forsaken, stranded on worlds that devoured light and birthed terrors, their spirit remained unyielding. They didn't merely endure, they flourished. And from the shadowed depths, borne on imperceptible currents, the primal cry persisted. It was a declaration of defiance, a solemn vow, a ticking clock. The collective strengthened, and so did Warhol.